8 seconds.
Till what?
Till I'm going to hit the button.
We already hit the button. Oh, I see.
The other button. Gotta get those timestamps, bruh.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
And hi, I'm Steve. This is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, breaking, fixing. I'm wearing the freaking shirt. The guitar podcast. Yeah.
It's a guitar podcast. Don't worry about it. What's the hot
buying, selling, trading, fixing, modding, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast?
What's the hot gossip, Steve?
Oh man, everyone this week is talking about Revival Electric.
This isn't fair. We're doing like new news. We're not doing old news.
Well, we were going to talk about how ERT doesn't know, or ERT or whatever, guitars doesn't know how to use eBay. But that's really old news.
We can save that for next week, maybe.
But yeah, this Revival thing, I got to say.
Revival versus Origin, right?
Revival versus Origin. I got to say first, regardless of what happens, I guess, unless Revival decides to defend themselves to the death, which, you know, maybe
I vote for a duel. I would watch that.
This activity, this legal activity is like, again, you know, assuming that they survive I think it's only one dude, survives the stress of this all, is like the best thing to ever happen to his company.
It's great marketing, that's for sure.
His the Revival Electric Instagram page has tripled its followers in the last week.
Wow.
We need to get sued.
Seriously.
It's not even a lawsuit. Okay. So first off,
we just need to get like what is it? Trademark papers in flux. Like, it's not even a cease and desist. It's like one company is going through like a trademarking process. Right.
What are some things that you think we could trademark?
Our own name?
Yeah, you have a point.
If anyone wants to pretend to be us, I mean, I guess we can't stop them. And we're using a name that's like, it gets used throughout the industry for a actual thing. Also, who would want to pretend to be us? That's not. That's
some kind of weird.
Kind of weirdo.
I
look to be super weird to want what we have here.
I looked for 60 Cycle Hum trademark, and there's a bunch of posts on a bunch of different forums how to avoid 60 Cycle Hum, how to cancel 60 Cycle Hum, how to eliminate. I mean, people do not want us around.
Right.
That's not what this is about, though. So originally,
I mean, I do have a trademark, copyright, and all the other legal protections on a FortiBoard. So don't even try. Don't even try.
Right.
I've got 16 lawyers on retainer for a FortiBoard.
I mean, I think obviously who we need to be going after is the Good Time or Good Humor brand. I think we could effectively trademark 50/50 and steal that away from them.
If we call it the creamsicle, that would be a problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can't call it the creamsicle. But the 50/50 is fine.
So there was a post 3 days ago basically saying, on Revival Electrics, basically saying, for the last 12 years, as a sole owner operator of Revival Electric here in the Bay, I've offered amp service and sales of EQ and vocal pedals that I design. I'm kind of paraphrasing. 18 months ago, Origin Effects blindsided me, or with legal action after they found out the Revival Drive pedal was denied for trademark. So the issue there is basically that
Origin has a pedal called
Origin Effects
Revival.
Right. Origin Effects has a pedal actually called Revival Drive. Apparently they have another pedal called, I was reading about this on the gear page, called the Magma 57.
Okay.
That was originally going to be called the Revival Vibe. Like somebody said that when you open that pedal up, the PCB says Revival Vibe on it.
Huh.
And basically what it sounds like happened is Origin Effects applied their trademark in all of these different countries, got it approved for Revival Drive.
It's amazing that a one word like name like that was still
Yeah.
available anywhere. Like, you know how like band names are? Like if you want to name your band with one word, like you can't. There's 50 bands with that word as their name already.
Right. So I guess Origin, they got Revival Drive approved as a trademark in like some other major markets. So I think like they are from the UK. They got it approved in the UK. I forget where else, but other major markets, probably like Japan and Canada. Are they major? Whatever. Doesn't matter. They applied to the United States, and the United States trademark, whoever is in charge of that, said, well, there's already a company here called Revival Electric, and they decided that it's too similar. So then basically it sounds like the original story was that they about 18 months ago, Origin Effects blindsided me with legal action after they found out the Revival Drive pedal was denied for trademark. Instead of reaching out or changing their naming practices, they decided to go after me. That they have a team of lawyers. They're doubling down during the peak of the pandemic with more malicious and aggressive claims. Now, I will note, we are recording this on June 18th, so it is somewhat ironic to me that a person in San Francisco said that they were made a post about being targeted at the peak of the pandemic on the day that the California Department of Public Health reopened the state.
Right.
But I mean, maybe that's getting a little borderline.
Maybe
political.
he has different definitions of peak.
Yeah. In my opinion, this is all an attempt to help Shield. You can go to their Instagram and read all this. I don't want to get into it. And then he goes and says, I feel like the community should know about this because the Revival Drive, or I think it's the Custom Ghost Revival Drive, is a $700 dirt pedal.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's got 16 knobs. Basically, I mean, when you think about the number of knobs it has,
we're talking knob to dollar ratio here.
It's a great product.
I just want to say, we don't have any relationship past or present with either of these brands. I've never talked to either of them.
No, they none of them would.
I've never looked at either of them and been like, oh, I'm interested in this either. Like I think I've seen the Origin pedals around.
Yeah.
And when I looked them up, I was like, oh, those guys. But I've never thought about them or looked into them.
Right. Well, friend of the show. Well, maybe not friend of the show.
Enemy of the show.
Friend of us. Casey Babcock has a bunch of them.
Oh, does he?
So that might be one of the places you've seen it.
Maybe.
So this whole thing happens 3 days ago, and the internet is rallying around this thing.
Yeah.
This is David and Goliath, except really it's kind of like David and David's big brother. It's like Origin Effects, I guess maybe they sell at Sweetwater, so that makes them Goliath-esque in comparison.
It's small builder versus bigger builder within this scene, but I'm telling you this, guys, every single pedal builder is a small builder compared to the vast majority of industries in this world.
Right.
Boss Pedals is a couple dozen people.
Right. So, I mean, I guess the angle on this is, as kind of already stated, Revival Electric is a one-man shop, and Origin Effects is 11 times bigger than Revival Electric.
11 people.
Because there's 11 people.
Right.
They're a company that came on the scene a few years ago.
Which is probably about the size of Strymon or something like that.
It's probably smaller than, I think that's actually, feel like Strymon is probably bigger than that.
You think so? Point. I don't think
I have no idea.
I'm under the impression that it's not much bigger.
No, I would guess Strymon maybe has upwards of 20 people.
Interesting.
I don't know why I think that.
These are all guesses from Steve and from me.
Yeah. So anyway, the internet just rushes. This is a David and Goliath. There's all these comments on Revival Electric, F Origin Effects. I wanted to buy it. Their Cali, they were really known for their Cali compressor.
Right.
Screw those guys. Blah blah blah. Interestingly, there was a lot of comments that were like, "Why can't they be more like JHS and support the industry?"
Oh my god,
support the industry. And I was just like, it's just 3 days. I'm just sitting there going something about this seems a little off.
It is a lot of people looking for drama and flying off the handle, picking sides and turning it into a storyline that probably isn't even really there. And this is a common thing. Like people, like these companies trying to figure out their trademarks and figuring out what names they can claim and not claim and going through legal processes to do them is extremely common in this industry and all sorts of other industries. My personal hot take is that what's his name? The first guy, the small guy. It kind of sucks that he went and aired his dirty laundry this way.
Right.
Not his dirty. No, I'm not saying it's his dirty laundry, but it's like he's a small builder. Right. He absolutely is. It sounds like he hasn't been up on his business being like consistent, and he hasn't been up on his trademarks. And Origin looked at it and they're like, this company's kind of in and out of existence. Like, we're going to go through our legal process that anyone can do to explore obtaining this trademark. Like, it's not, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is normal business. This isn't malicious. This isn't like some sort of like cold-hearted, like lawyers only involved sort of attack. This isn't a Gibson style attack on a small business. So this is just normal business.
So 18 months ago was approximately.
Watch, we're going to, by the time this episode comes out, some awful thing is going to come out and we're going to be proved to be totally wrong. Everyone's going to be like, wow, Ryan and Steve backed this awful business.
It could be awful. I did before Origin even released their statement, I kind of like poked around at some things. The guy said that, 18 months ago he was hit with this thing. So that would have been, actually, when you look at the documents, I think it was like November 2019.
Well, that would be the peak of the pandemic.
So I go to the Revival Instagram. I'm scrolling back to fairly, consistent posting, like 1 or 2 posts a month back until November 26, 2019. And then before that, the most recent post was July 1st, 2018. So there is in 2018, 2019, about 14-month gap in posting. You go back some more, and from May 9th, 2018, all the way back to June 2017, which is about 11 months, there's another gap.
Right.
So I can kind of understand when he says
based off their social media, this company barely exists.
Yeah, when Origin says, hey, we reached out and could not get a response, and we looked at the website and different social media outlets, and they all kind of look not in use or maybe no longer being used as a business.
Right.
So then I went and, Origin finally made their response earlier today. Right. I think people who have seen it, it at least provides a lot of balance. A lot of people still think Origin's wrong because they think, well, people, you guys weren't there first, so you should just
back off.
But what's kind of interesting is Origin is now claiming that the reason that they went this route is because they reached out, couldn't get a response. So then what they did is after they couldn't get a response, they filed for trademark cancellation, which is basically saying like, it's kind of like,
this is derelict. We want to
it's kind of like
investigate.
It's kind of like the whole thing where like a company says like, it's like guitar design, where if you don't defend something that you consider a key component of your design, you lose it.
Right.
So they're saying like, look, like we've tried to contact this person. We've got no response. So we can't negotiate with them. So we're just assuming this business is closed and we would like for the US government to look into it. Origin then claims that this escalated beyond our control when Revival demanded royalty fees on all sales of Revival products that we were unable to meet. So that would have been like, again, like all Revival drives. Some people interpret that as being like not just future sales, but all US sales.
Right.
So pedals that had already sold during this year and a half.
We don't know, so we don't know. Can't speculate. So who knows?
Well, I mean, we can't speculate, but
we absolutely can speculate. I'm going to speculate that he wanted to be paid up front for 100 years worth of pedal sales based on their peak year.
Now, the other thing here that is put out there, and I don't know.
I don't think he actually did that.
I don't know that Revival ever uses the word. He said that Revival said they were blindsided with legal action, which of course a lot of people have said, and said, help shield them. In my opinion, this is all an attempt to help shield them from potential lawsuits since they're illegally using Revival, which infringes on my registered trademark. Which is interesting that a guy who's basically saying they're trying to like kill my business with legal fees is also saying that, but if they continue to use this name, I'm going to sue the hell out of them. But Origin has basically said, or come back in their statement, I know you're getting bored.
Well, it's just all. It's also stupid.
It's goofy because it's the two sides, but like Origin's basically said, like, look, we're not suing anybody. We're going through the United States legal process for attaining a copyright.
Right.
And we're not doing anything malicious. We're not trying to close this guy's business. We're just trying to like figure things out. Now the thing that I find really interesting,
what we have is one side acting like a business going through, the legal process, and we have the other party acting as a sole individual, which they are.
Yeah.
Acting like a sole individual that's going, hey, what the hell? Where the other side is a group of people that are a business going like, we are going through the process. And so that is the back and forth here. And it's easy to pick what feels like the underdog. But from my perspective, it's like, this is just normal business. They're gonna figure it out. They're gonna shake out the situation, and like it's not worth picking sides over. Like they're gonna figure it out, guys. Don't worry.
So what really cracked me up in the whole thing is somewhere I found one of the actual like things that was submitted to court as evidence. Revival's lawyers have tried to get some of the things dismissed as frivolous and whatever. But Origin is basically one of the things they're trying to do to get the trademark canceled. At this point is now they're saying that the trademark was filed under false pretenses.
Okay.
Because the trademark says that the trademark is for electronic effects pedals sold for use with sound amplifiers. It actually said electronic effects pedals sold for use with sound amplifiers. And then it said guitar amplifiers, and they've never sold guitar amplifiers, but they filed a trademark for guitar amplifiers. And then, so in this thing, it says, with respect to the other product, electronic effects pedals sold for use as sound amplifiers, though respondent now claims 2 sales in 2009, in its brief in opposition, the evidence provided was for 1 sale of a pedal to the company owner's father in 2009. Only 1 sale occurred, basically saying like, this guy made a pedal, sold it to his dad, and say, cool, I had 1 sale, I'm starting a company now. I need to trademark this. And they go through and basically break down this whole thing, saying that when this person applied for a company, a trademark to trademark this company, that they weren't actually a company. And so they couldn't legally apply for a trademark.
It's all so murky.
It's so
and
dumb,
boring, but it's stupid.
I think it's funny. Maybe I've just watched too much Law and Order.
It is
Law and Order Trademark Victims Unit.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody did say, like, is this like Dumble or Klon though? Like nobody's gonna try to steal the Dumble trademark or the Klon trademark, and Bill Finnegan only makes like 10 pedals a year.
Right.
He also sells every single one of those for like $4,000.
Yeah, I think you could prove that Finnegan's in business.
Yeah.
And that he has a fully recognizable name. Where I've barely heard of Origin, and I definitely hadn't heard of the other guy, Kent. The name of his company is Revival.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep forgetting that. That's the whole thing that they're fighting over. The name Revival.
I think somebody else went through and broke it down that like over the course from like 2011 to 2020, I want to say the total number of pedals sold was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 12 a year.
Right.
So, even if you were to say 20 a year, that's like 180 pedals. I think we've sold more pedals than that.
I probably sell more used pedals than that in a year.
But I'm saying like we've probably sold like more. I forget. Is there 150 or 250 50s out there?
No, I think there's like 125.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
We've sold just about as many as this company in way less time. We should register 60 Cycle Hum as a pedal company.
Oh my gosh. And then someone can, then the moment we register as a pedal company, then someone will try to come and steal the name.
As soon as we register as a pedal company, we can sue every company that says that their pedal eliminates 60 Cycle Hum. Be like, how dare you try to cancel our trademark with your pedal?
That cancels us, apparently. And if we were going to make a pedal, a 60 Cycle Hum pedal, it would enhance 60 Cycle Hum. How dare you?
Yeah. Wait, is that what our pedal does?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it isn't a double overdrive. You're going to definitely enhance your 60 Cycle Hum if you turn both sides on.
Enhance.
So I don't know. Whatever you guys think about the situation is fine. From my perspective,
We're not lawyers.
We're not lawyers. From my perspective, is like no one should actually care about this outside the people that are personally involved.
Right.
It's going to get worked out. If the guy who owns the Revival trademark cares enough about his business, he's going to track down the finances to defend his trademark. That's part of being in business.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, money usually wins. So,
right. I think, I think to me, the biggest takeaway here is this is really being framed as, successful company. Like I said at the beginning, like this is being framed as like David versus Goliath, when it's kind of more like David versus David's brother. Does David have a brother? I don't know. He probably had a brother. He had a bunch of brothers. Didn't he have he had a bunch of brothers.
I mean, I don't know anything about this Revival company. I don't think Origin was ever at risk of Revival coming after them.
No, probably not.
They could have waited a couple of years and that whole company might have just petered out, or just be in and out of existence for they've been in existence for a long time. It sounds like kind of like if Moe's right
had
a pedal
line and they made it for a few years
because it's a shop,
and then
it's a repair shop.
It kind of seems like this guy's running a repair shop,
right? And the guy, if you're watching right now, guy from Revival.
Or guys from Origin.
Sure. If you're watching right now, I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're doing good business.
Oh, that's what you're going to say.
Yeah. I don't know anything about you really. I don't know how much product you sell. There's a lot of speculation out there. I hope that if you're in the right, that you win this battle over your trademark. I hope that
if you're wrong, you rot in jail. Just kidding.
I hope that if you're not active with this, you're not sincerely active with this product or this trademark name, then you'll realize that maybe it's not worth the drama. Maybe it's not worth the fight. They're pedals. Let's not get so uptight about freaking names and stuff. There should be a law that says you can't trademark a pedal name.
Yeah. Well,
at this point, you should just be able to call whatever you want a tube screamer.
And I know somebody said, I did see somewhere the claim being made that that Origin Effects put Revival amps out of business 7 years ago, but I haven't actually seen that corroborated anywhere. So some people are trying to put it out there Origin Effects just thinks they own the word Revival in the pedal space. And I haven't seen that. I haven't looked super hard. I've seen the two statements on Instagram, and I've read one legal document.
Right.
I'm not.
There are companies out there that are overly litigious with their IP, Monster Cables.
Oh my gosh.
And Monster Energy Drinks are famous for going after anything that uses the word monster, which is stupid. You can't do that. When you try to trademark names that are in the common vernacular, it makes you look awful. And I think there's an element of that to this. It's you want to own the word Revival. What are you going to go after every church that has a revival service?
Right. They just want it in the pedal space. They want that to be.
I think it's different when it is industry specific. It's not Monster Cables going after someone who makes a plush monster toy or something like that.
No, but at its core, Origin is saying we want to make it. We have a pedal called the Revival Drive, and we want to be the only company who is selling the Revival Drive in the United States. And the United States said, well, there's a company called Revival Electric who doesn't even make a pedal called the Revival Drive. But, you know,
I think it's fair to assume that there's not going to be any product confusion.
Clearly, the biggest issue here is that the U.S. Trademark Office needs to have some freaking guitarists.
Get a guitar boy in there.
Yeah,
Steve, I think you should put in for the job.
Be like, hey, you guys, would you guys ever confuse like the Origin Effects Revival Drive with the this Revival Electric whatever?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if Boss, back when they started, they like somehow managed to trademark the word distortion. They're like, the DS1 distortion. We want to trademark DS1 and distortion. And then every other company was like, yeah, we have this new pedal. It's I don't know, whatever new pedal, the MXR Distortion 3. Probably.
And also it's like the idea that people have that a trademark claim puts another company out of business. That's not how it works. Like when Spiral Effects started, they were starting under the name Rose Pedals. It's Tom Cran's company. It's what he was starting right after leaving Digitech DoD because Samsung sucks. But anyways, he started the company called Rose Pedals, and then Eventide was like, oh, hold on there, buddy. We've got a trademark for Rose Pedal because we have a product coming out that's been in the works for a year. Like, this happened in between countless companies in the short time that we've been involved in this industry, like 6 or 7 years. Like, we've seen this happen multiple times behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. It's honestly not the huge deal it's being made out to be with this social media fiasco. And I think that's where my kind of just dismissiveness of this comes from. It's like, we've seen this happen before. It is not this huge deal that it's being made out to be. Like, everyone needs to relax.
Yeah.
This is different than Gibson going after every single small guitar builder that makes something resembling a single cut. Like that. This is a different thing. It's a fight over a name. It's not, they're not saying, oh, your circuit design is canceled. Oh, the whole premise of your business is canceled. Oh, we're going to take over your business. It's not that. It's not that. It's a fight over the use of a word.
It was also kind of put out, like, I've seen some statement that, oh, it's actually, here's another one right here. Jackson Audio has a pedal called the Asabi. It's I think it's the Mateus Asado signature pedal. That was originally called El Guapo.
Right.
But El Guapo was, I think, a Mojo Hand pedal.
Yeah.
Mojo Hand Fuzz.
And John Cusack owns Mojo Hand now.
And somebody said, oh, it wasn't really that hard for them to change their name. But from what I've understood, that basically Jackson Audio didn't have any of those in production. So they were able to recall them all. Or they didn't. It's not that they weren't selling any of them yet, so it's not even the same thing. Whereas, like, there's presumably hundreds of Revival Drives out there already.
Well, yeah, Origin is like, oh, we've already had this in production. We already got trademark cleared in all these other markets, and we just keep checking on the U.S. Like, is this still active? It looks like it's inactive. Let's check it out. You know, let's try again. You know, they're waiting for it to be inactive so that they can claim it. Let's move on.
I can't believe we even talked about. Yeah, I can.
I might cut parts out of this because we got repetitive for a bit. Like, it doesn't. You don't need to talk about this for half an hour.
That means I'm gonna have to watch this whole thing again and figure out where all the timestamps are.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'll probably just leave it all. Who cares? Who cares? The people who watch and listen to the podcast watch and listen to the whole thing every week, no matter what we talk about. So I'm not going to cut anything out.
Yeah. People just watch this for the premiere chat.
Oh my gosh, that's probably halfway true.
This first topic, or this first ad is sent by Daniel Police. He says, a friend of mine is looking to transport his guitars overseas. Anyone with advice or tips? My old guitars, if anyone has Any tips on transporting them? I keep wanting to read transporting as train spotting them overseas, which is a different thing and involves a lot of heroin.
Yeah. I mean, it would freak me out if I saw one of these crawling across the ceiling, Steve.
Ooh, that was not the scene I wanted to hear about.
Right. I think this is an interesting question. It sounds like his friend is anxious about traveling on planes with his guitars.
Yeah.
I would say I would feel much more secure bringing the guitars onto the plane with me. The times when things go wrong is when you ship them or when you allow the airplane staff to put them underneath the plane. Like that's when things go wrong. If you're the person holding the guitar, transporting it onto the plane, putting it in the overhead, that is the safest the guitar can be.
I would, so the two guitars we're looking at here, one is a Roland G707, which is, I think that's the one with like a built-in synthesizer or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And the other one is some kind of Parker.
Yeah.
And so my thought is, gig bag that G707, carry that on board. Like you said, dude, just ship that Parker. Those things
weighs nothing.
Flipping indestructible. It weighs like an ounce, maybe 2 ounces.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe like 40 ounces.
My thing is, you're supposed to be allowed to bring a musical instrument on the plane with you. It's supposed to be airline policy, at least in the States now. He wants to travel international, so coming back, it might not be the same. But you get on the plane in the US, they are supposed to allow you to bring it on. Like it's the rules. If it might be limited to one instrument per person. If you're traveling with someone, like, hey, take this guitar with you as we travel. Like, it's that simple. Like I've gone on these big like travel shoots with our buddy Adam that I do video work with.
Right.
And honestly, I think the biggest reason I've gone on these travel shoots is because he needed an extra ticketed person to carry more crap on the plane. He's like, I don't want to check this stuff. This is my livelihood. I'm going to buy you a plane ticket so that to make sure that we can get it all and carry on. So yeah, if you're traveling with anyone, just carry on both guitars. You will be the one to put it in the overhead. It will fit. I've flown with guitars in big bulky cases twice now in the States.
Oh yeah.
And I've been able to bring them on the plane both times and it worked out fine both times. The thing that sucks is carrying a hard case through the airport.
Right.
With a freaking super heavy guitar in it. And it's like, oh man, I've got a 2-hour layover and I have to babysit this case now. I think your guitar is going to be fine. As long as you have an eye on it, you're the one moving around, it's going to be fine. Thumbs up.
Just do it.
Just fly with your fly with your guitars.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like,
I mean, this is a Parker Fly, right? I don't know if it's Parker Fly model, but come on, Parker has a Fly model. It wants to fly.
Or, I mean, pretty much they have the Parker Fly shape, and they have the Parker P44 shape or P38 or whatever.
It's not called a Parker boat. It's a Parker Fly. It wants to fly. It's not called the Parker Sail or the Parker Drive. It's the Fly.
Yeah, it just wants to be on a plane. And it just wants to have you do those Sugar Ray licks. That's it.
Why are you bringing up Sugar Ray?
Because it's a Parker Fly.
Oh, now I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I just want to fly.
Parker.
That's so stupid. What's new, Steve?
What's new is you're skipping the Chase Bliss Audio spot.
Oh, let's do a Chase Bliss Audio spot.
Brought to you by Chase Bliss Audio. They make pedals more creative than you are.
Yeah.
You got any in arm's reach?
I was messing around with the warped vinyl on my own time a while back, and I need to spend some more time with it. I was like, man, I almost never play with that pedal. Let me grab it.
That's the chorus?
Yeah, I did a chorus video a week or two back.
Oh, okay.
And I was thinking about doing all my courses, and then I just ended up doing all of Forward courses. Spending time with this, like, man, this is such a fun pedal. Like, I don't use chorus a lot, but I need to spend more time with this pedal and incorporate it in my playing more often because it can do a lot of fun, wild stuff. Just like any Chase Bliss pedal, it can do things that no other pedal in its genre can do. So yeah, Chase Bliss Audio, thanks for sponsoring the show once again for pedals more creative than you are and probably better looking. Chaseless Audio. So what's new, Steve?
What's new is, well, we had this conversation earlier, but
You don't have anything new, huh?
No, I'll come up. So I had this. That's why I don't have a what's new anymore. So I've been having this idea in my head for a while that I want to get like a high end, mid end. I wouldn't say high end, like a mid tier. Maybe some people would think it's high end bass preamp.
Oh, okay.
And so my thought is, we use a Sans amp, but it's the Sans amp parametric or para drive, I think it's called, para DI. So it's like can do guitar or bass or acoustic guitar, is what we have at church. And I was thinking like, well, maybe I should get a Darkglass because that's the hot, sexy,
Right.
bass preamp right now. Or, maybe I could go a little old tech and get the Aguilar tone hammer, or as our Jake Ross and Joe Branton would say, the Aguilar.
It does feel nice in the mouth to say Aguilar.
Anyway, so you have these different dedicated bass preamp pedals that are like cool and whatever. But then I started thinking like, is that really what I want, or do I just really need to like get an HX Stomp? And I've been weighing the pros and cons. I don't know if any of these preamps have, like, for example, have a headphone out. They don't have a headphone out. That's going to be kind of like limiting my usage at home. I guess unless I want to like plug it into the computer and listen to it on computer headphones, but that's extra steps,
Right.
So I started thinking about like HX Stomp versus like a tone hammer or like an Alpha Omega DI or the Darkglass, like I think it's the B7K. They have all these different models. So I kind of want to put it out to the listeners who have used this stuff, and I guess like one of my thoughts is like the Darkglass or whatever preamp would be kind of limited to only being a bass preamp. I mean, I guess you could run guitar through it, but that's kind of, I would think of it as primarily a bass tool, whereas like the HX Stomp I would use primarily as a bass tool, but
it could be other things too.
We know that the HX Stomp is also a great tool for guitar. So I've been weighing those options back and forth. And that's kind of, I guess it's kind of a what's new.
Do you want to borrow my Pod Go and try that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have read.
We already discussed this, but I pitched it like, hey, here's an idea, Steve. You want to borrow my Pod Go and you can try it out?
I have heard that the Pod Go kind of sucks compared to the HX Stomp.
Well, it's more limited.
I heard the AD converters aren't as good, and I heard you can't change effect order.
Yeah, it's more locked into effect order, and you like the HX Stomp is more like a sandbox,
right?
Where like you can experiment with signal path and stuff like that. Where the Pod Go is much more like, here's your signal, change out the elements. But I think if you spent some time with the Pod Go using the bass amps and the cabs and stuff in it, you would be able to figure out if you do want an HX Stomp.
And that's kind of my thought as well, is if I can get comfortable with the flow path and kind of the toolboxes and
right,
whatever. What do they call it? Like the interface.
Sure.
Then I can kind of make a better decision there. And on, I
mean, it's the same sounds. It's the same like amp and cab patches. Right. So you'll be able to figure out like, oh, do I like the sound of this? Do I want more functionality?
Yeah. So supposedly the bass preset that Brian Gower from the Tone Jerks made is really good. I hear.
Got to try that thing out.
It's really dirty, but I don't know. We'll find out. Really dirty, just like the Tone Jerks.
Super dirty boys over there.
You got anything new, man?
I do. You know that because I already told you.
Yeah.
I got a Father's Day gift. We recorded this before Father's Day, but it's publishing after. My wife asked if she could give it to me before Father's Day, and I said yes. I forget what these are called, but it's this like metal drum thing, like a tongue groove drum or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It's really fun. I've been having a lot of fun playing it with the kids.
Why does that one sound? That one over there sounds
It's because it's still got the plastic sticker on it.
I think it's also like a really high note. So
It is. Here.
There it goes.
Yeah. I've been having a bunch of fun with it. It's interesting because I've been trying to think in musical theory a little bit more, and it's laid out in all the major scale.
Yeah.
And it's numbered. So it is like, oh, here's your first, it's a C. It starts with a C, and then it goes, it's all numbered. So there's your second, your third, your fifth, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And it
That's
makes it
how numbers, your 1, 2, 3, 5.
But it's like, I don't know very much in music theory, but I do know that like a 1 and a 3 and a 5 is just a major chord, right?
Yeah.
And you can move that around, so I can do a 2, 4, 6. So I've been having a good time, like conceptually messing around with it. And it's also been a lot of fun with the kids to just kind of sit and play around with it. And make
kids love those things.
Kind of really mellow, chill music.
Well, it's really mellow and chill until your kid decides at 11 o'clock at night that they're going to play it.
Also kind of looks like a big fun turtle.
Yeah. They're cool because you can just put them on like a shelf and they hang out and like put the sticks nearby, and your kids will just kind of
they kind of look like a giant
just roll by and
essential oil diffuser.
They really do. It also kind of looks like, does yours have a hole in the bottom?
Yeah, so you take this plug out.
Yeah, you can put a little LED in there.
You could put your weed in there. What's next, Steve?
Hold on. Could you fit a small gun in there?
Oh yeah, probably.
Like so you could defend yourself from an intruder. Hold on, let me
it might actually be tough to get the handle in there.
Let me just grab my drum, man. Don't rob me yet. Let me get the money out of the drum.
It could be a really fun piggy bank.
Yeah.
You know what? If you cut a little slot right here, you could put quarters in it, and it would be a really fun piggy bank.
And it'd be,
and then you could be like a big shaker.
Yeah, and a shaker.
Be a big shaker. But I'm stoked on it. And cheat code, if my wife is hearing this in any way possible, or anyone else that cares about me, cheat code for buying me gifts. You buy me something that's like a musical instrument, I'm probably going to love it. No matter if I play that instrument or not, It's easy. Like my mom bought me a ukulele one year, like 15 years ago. And it's probably the best gift she ever gave me that I absolutely still use.
Does that include life?
Yeah, probably. What do you think I want to do more? Live or play ukulele? Damn. That got dark. That's some good old Zoomer humor right there.
All right, you want to hit this next topic?
I didn't ask to be born.
Just kidding. This next thing is an ad. This is the DiPinto orbital. Philip Roof posted about these. Paul Weller posted about these.
Yeah, a few people have been messaging me about them. Like, hey, you gonna get one? You gonna get one? They are a budget version of a DiPinto. They're like $3.99 new.
Yeah,
they do look very fun, and they've got really fun glittery colors. And they have the 4 like squared off Vox Phantom style pickups, and the 4 buttons to select the pickups, and an offset tremolo and like a tune-o-matic bridge. They're very, very similar to DiPinto's famous Galaxy model.
Yeah.
But I've honestly kind of been apprehensive about them. Like, you'd think it'd be a no-brainer for me. Budget guitar.
Yeah.
In the style of a modern classic surf guitar. But I kind of look at them and I just think $3.99 is almost halfway to just getting a proper Galaxy. And so I don't know. I think there's people out there that are going to buy these and are going to love them. I think they're going to be great. I think they're probably going to play for their price point. They're probably going to play similar to like a Squier or any import $399 guitar. But this is like the personal journey I'm going through in my mind. Like, and this is probably what most people go through when they're like looking at Squiers or Epiphones. Like, do I get the $400 version or do I get the $900 version? And I'd love to have a Galaxy someday, but then like my struggle is do I do it this way? I think I'd much rather get a real Galaxy.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think the tough thing is DiPinto. Let's look up, not Dionto, not DiPinto.
DiPinto is a brand that's been around.
I ended up searching for DiPinto
Since I was a teenager, basically.
Yeah, they've been around for a while.
Yeah.
So I would say, part of this is a Galaxy 4, like a proper Galaxy 4. This is the low straitjackets version, is $1,300.
Well, the
Galaxy 2.
They have. Here's the thing. He has the Safari line, which is like $899, I think.
Okay, so maybe this is one of those because
which is like
$700.
Yeah, the Safari line is like the made in Mexico style.
Gotcha.
Version of the brand, where like the higher end stuff is. I don't know if he's having them made in America. I know he does a lot of finishing and setup in person before they're shipped out with the Safaris and with the other ones. I don't remember the specifics of the build origin of the higher end models. For a while he was doing stuff made in Korea, but then he moved stuff back to the States. So it could be all over the map.
Yeah. There's some really subtle differences in design.
Well, that's another thing is, what are these new ones called? The
Orbital.
The Orbital. It has the layout of the Galaxy with the 4 pickups and the 4 switches, but it's not the same body shape. And I think that is a big thing for me. I think if it was the same exact body shape, then maybe I'd be more into it. Like it's leaning into a fatter, more like roundish take on like a scaled up Mustang almost, where the Galaxy is like a thinned out version of a Jaguar.
Right. Yeah, there's just some, and the other thing is, and this is, I guess part selection and whatever, the real DiPintos have fancier knobs, like they're like a witch hat style.
Right.
And that switch on the full Galaxies.
Yeah, the Galaxy switch
like
is a rocker.
A wild rocker switch versus this. Here's one that that sold on Reverb for $750 for a Galaxy. So
yeah.
Here's a Galaxy 4 in a burst for $875.
Every now and someone asks me when I'm going to buy a Galaxy, and the answer has never been never. It's like, I don't know when I'm going to buy one, but it is out there. Like someday I probably will.
Holy hell. Somebody sold a pink Sparkle Galaxy 4 for $400 on Reverb. I'm trying to figure out.
Maybe I need to keep an eye on the used market for.
It does look like this one, and maybe this was going back to what you're saying. Like, I read somewhere that the difference is that all of these guitars are being made in the same place, and the difference is that the Orbitals show up, or the Orbitals, I don't even know if they show up. They might just be getting drop shipped,
right?
Whereas like the $1,000 one is showing up and getting like a full workover. Maybe,
right.
Maybe I don't. And again, I don't really know a ton about DiPinto.
No, I think that's been his thing. Is like even when he has them made overseas, whether it be Korea or wherever, like normally he does a full setup.
Yeah,
and work over on the guitars.
Yeah, I read, and I don't know if it was confirmed anywhere.
No,
but I read somewhere that these ones aren't.
In his own posts, he made it sound like he's not going to, even if he has them in shop, like he's not doing a full setup on them. Like,
right.
And I get it. At $399, like, I'm sure there's not a lot of profit margin there for him.
Sure.
So he can't, dedicate, a couple hours to making sure that they play the same as the other guitars. Like, they're meant to be a budget, option. It's cool that he's doing it. It's cool that someone who really is a small builder that has existed in a very specific niche.
Yeah, he straight up says in here like
can have a budget model like this.
He says still churning out Galaxy Savaris too, worth the wait because this factory really nails the quality. And after my handmade hand wired guard is added, my fret level. So it sounds like maybe they do all the the finish work overseas, and then it's hand-wired electronics when it gets here, so maybe the orbitals aren't. He says the orbitals are, the factory's a little more intermediate. He says that they're more like old Harmony or Silvertones, which is fine because sometimes all you want to do is windmills and big muff power cords. That's what you need the orbital for.
Right.
And some of these orbitals, like most of the ones you screen grabbed they definitely look...
Oh, they look super fun.
But they look cheaper. I feel like this one, which is in one of the shots, but I don't think you have like a standalone shot of it. That one is the one.
That's the one you like?
That one.
That 3 humbucker one?
It's the 3 humbucker pink with white.
I like the green snot sparkle one.
Yeah, he calls them Squire Galaxies, not made to rival a Galaxy. He says he does a quick setup, but
right.
It sounds like the Safari models or the higher models get a lot more attention.
Sure. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about my own personal journey looking at these and trying to consider them, for my own purchases,
Yeah.
All right. You want to do the next sponsor?
Yeah. This next sponsor spot is for Big Ear Pedal, sponsor of the show. They make this pedal, the Loaf.
You want to see something, Steve?
Show me something. You're going to show me something? What are you going to show me?
I'm going to pull it up on my messenger here from Grant Wilson himself.
What?
Look at that, Steve. Ooh. I'll flash it up here as a tease. You can look at it yourself for a few seconds.
That's actually bigger than I thought it would be.
It's a little bigger than you thought, isn't it, Steve?
It's a bit bigger than I thought.
Is. Now you don't get to see. There it is again. There's something coming, guys. Something based on a very stupid and dumb idea that I've talked about before on the show. And Grant has been working on it behind the scenes for a while. And I have no idea how many he's planning to make. It seems like a lot of effort, but Big Ear is going to do a thing that I've joked about. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, there's the Albi.
There's also the Albi. The Albi's really cool, curated multi-effect. Everyone needs to own one of these.
Maybe 2.
Nah.
Father's Day just passed.
I mean, there are other color options besides this color. So
it's time to start.
You do need more than one.
It's time to start thinking about other days that you could give your father an Albi. 4th of July, why not celebrate the country's independence by giving your father an Albi?
On the recording calendar, tomorrow's Juneteenth. You probably should have bought somebody
Labor Day. Give your mom and your dad an Albi for Labor Day.
What if
Thanksgiving?
What if only one of them is a laborer?
Give your entire family Albis. They'll be so thankful. Halloween?
Put Albies in kids' bags. Be like, you want candy? Screw that. I got Albi.
Yeah, the kids are going to be running around. They're giving away Albies at that house. You're going to be legendary.
Legendary.
I mean, Christmas is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give an Albi to Santa.
Don't leave out cookies. Leave out an Albi for Santa.
New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. No better way to ring in a new year with an Albi.
Yeah. This is going to be our pitch for Big Ear from now on, just covering holidays. It is the calendar girl of pedals.
All right.
That's so stupid.
This next topic is an album review.
I feel like we should do this and then get out. We've gone long with that.
All right, then let's do some
talking about freaking Origin.
Let's do some housekeeping first. This housekeeping is where we thank the people who help make this show possible. Our Patreon supporters over on patreon.com/60cyclehumcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can give us $1 a month.
That's true.
So this week we'd like to thank Bert Whitehead, who is supporting us at the $1 level. Thanks, Bert.
That's a cool name, Bert.
Ryan finally ordered some picks, so I have one less excuse for not getting everybody's stuff shipped out. Actually, I have a really good excuse. This weekend is Father's Day, and I won't be home all weekend, so that's my excuse.
Soon, though, Steve is going to ship out 100 packages all at the same time.
It's literally, I think, up to like 30 packages.
The shipping is going to bankrupt us.
I get anxiety thinking about it.
There's just a pile of packages and merch sitting in the middle of Steve's house. His family's like, Daddy, when will you move all of this? When I finally feel like it, that's when.
The pile just keeps getting bigger.
We're going to stop the podcast And Steve's going to be like, this is the day. Now I'm going to ship all this stuff out.
Yeah.
The day that we stop doing this.
So yeah, we got new picks. Some of y'all will get the older picks. Some of y'all will get these pink guys.
Yep. I got pink. I got white. I got chocolate. I got Neapolitan picks, guys.
What?
Pink, white. It's strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate, Steve. Neapolitan picks.
This is black, dude. This isn't.
That's chocolate. It's black licorice.
The best kind of Neapolitan. All right, let's do this album review. We are reviewing.
Oh man,
Frog Stomp by Silverchair. I believe Levi Main suggested this. Is that correct?
I think so. It was from the Inner Circle suggestion thread. I was only familiar with the radio hits from Silverchair. Were you familiar with any of this album?
I only know 2 Silverchair songs. One is from this album, the song Tomorrow. The other one is Anthem for the Year 2000. I don't really know how it goes, except I know there's the part that's like, this is the anthem for the year 2000. And I think that's all I know from them, but I might know more.
I think I've heard a bunch of these songs before, but I always assumed they were other bands. Like I thought, like there was one song I was like, oh, I always thought this was a Pearl Jam song.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I always thought this was a Soundgarden song.
Yeah, my note going in was I've listened through Neon Ballroom a couple times. My wife owned a copy of Neon Ballroom, and I said I haven't listened to anything else from them intentionally. So the second song, which was Tomorrow, I said, oh, I think I've heard this song and legit had no idea who it was by. Like, I really just thought this was any of the other grunge bands except Silverchair. I wish I was making this up. Like, the opening track, I was like, is this Pearl Jam?
Right.
This is Pearl Jam. And then, like, Tomorrow does have this, like, Pearl Jam, Jeremy kind of a thing going on, but also kind of a little bit of a just every
single track was like, this is a mix of different parts of Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and some Nirvana mixed in.
I thought there was like 1 or 2 tracks that felt like they had maybe a smidge of Alice in Chains.
Yeah, I could see that too. But like, yeah, you take the biggest names in grunge.
Yeah.
And you compress it and condense it and concentrate it, and it becomes a Silverchair album. Like I was honestly shocked by just it. Like if you wanted to show someone grunge, what grunge was,
I'd almost just play this album.
I'd almost say don't go to the big names, just go to this album and be like, this album is grunge.
Yeah,
like you will get an idea of what 4 or 5 different bands sounded like from listening to this one album, which makes it kind of brilliant in a way.
So I really wanted to get your take on this album as a whole, because one of the things I realized while listening to this album is that I didn't want to be listening to this album. I've just kind of been really swamped at work, honestly. And so like listening to music, I don't want to listen to anything that I feel like is a job. And sometimes because I'm trying to take notes, like the album review is a little bit of a job. And I was just like, I don't want to listen to this. I really don't want to listen to anything. I really just need to work.
Right.
And it's been like this because we didn't record last week. So I've actually had 2 weeks to listen through this album and I barely got through it.
So you had extra time to think about avoiding it.
But I did want to get like your take on it and find out whether or not you liked it, because I felt like the other side of this is like, maybe I just don't really want to listen to grunge bands. Like maybe that's just not for me.
Well, here's my take. I think the album is good. For a grunge album, I think the album is good. And I think part of the thing that I've been mentioning, that it sounds just like an amalgam of all these grunge bands, I think part of what makes it good is that every single track is an amalgam of top tracks,
right,
from big artists, like from the major artists of the scene. So you're not left with an album that has a bunch of like, oh, let's try something different tracks. It is straight grunge all the way through. Or if you go listen to, like Super Unknown or like a Soundgarden, or like a Pearl Jam album or something like that, there's going to be tracks that wander into different territory and aren't the straight radio grunge that you're used to. This Silverchair album is straight radio grunge all the way through.
I will say, and I guess now that I think about other bands, because I couldn't think of any at the time. The song I liked the most on the album, the song I liked the most was the last one because it meant the album was over.
Shut up.
No, but it was the last song, and I felt like it was the most pop punk song. But now I'm realizing it's really just, is it the Toadies I'm thinking of?
Oh, sure, probably.
Or no, who is it? Maybe it's not the Toadies. Who is it that does Plowed?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the song that I was thinking of actually when I heard the song.
Was it Hum?
No, it's definitely not Hum. Are you looking it up? I was going to look it up.
You look it up. But what I was leading to with my previous thought,
Sponge.
Also
1994.
In a way, it could be a more taxing, exhausting album to listen to because it doesn't have those breaks where you get a different kind of song. It is grunge, like a specific kind of grunge all the way through. And so you don't get this album journey of like, here's the big epic song, here's a ballad, here's something more emotional and like experimental, and then back into like a radio hit. Like you don't get a journey like that. It is like, it's kind of homogenous.
Right. And so that kind of got me thinking about other kind of albums in that time. And to that point, that's kind of, Bush's 16 Stone came out the same year. And, you're going to get your big epics Come Down and whatever and your Machine Heads, but you're also going to get a little glycerin sprinkled.
Right.
Like you got some variety.
There's variety.
There,
yeah. And I think there is variety on Toad Stomp or Frog Stomp, Toad Touch, Toad Step. I think there is some variety, but it's more like each song has a similar kind of dynamic range and a thing it's trying to accomplish in being like a radio style grunge hit. But you don't get the variation in song style. Right. What you get a variation is, this song leans heavier into Pearl Jam, or this song leans heavier into Soundgarden, this song leans heavier into Nirvana, and so on and so on.
There was one song that I don't remember which track it was. It was somewhere, I want to say maybe like track 8 or 9. Did I make a note? Track 3. I said, I don't mind this song, I guess. I think this genre just isn't for me. Also, this track is 2 songs. The second song is better than the first one, and it's shorter. It was like a 7-minute long track, and it was like 5 minutes of one like drony,
the first song,
noisy thing. No, it was the third song.
Oh, the third song.
The first song of the third song. Then the second one was like a little more in the metal, I guess. The fast Soundgarden-y stuff. Did you read about the back? Do you know anything about Silverchair?
I looked up a little bit, and it sounded like they were very young Australian dudes.
Yeah. So I felt bad because I looked it up halfway through, and I said, for one of the, actually literally track 5, so halfway through, I said, this feels like something I've heard. Is this just because it's generic? Why is all I'm doing in this review basically dumping on this band? And then I was thinking, I'm like, these guys are 15. When I was 15, all I could do is play cowboy chords and video games.
Yeah, could you imagine making any of those songs when you're 15?
No.
Oh my God. And like, I made a note like halfway through the album. It's like, no one talks about, like when you think of grunge, no one talks about how epic the vocals were.
Right.
Like there was a lot of epic vocal stuff going on in grunge, not in the same way of like the big like falsetto epic style stuff that you get from hair metal and things like that, but just like the raw kind of like emotional energy that you get out of grunge vocals is very different from what I think a lot of grunge bands thought that they were doing. I think a lot of them thought of themselves as either metal bands or punk bands or something in between.
Yeah.
But the grunge vocal style, I don't think gets enough attention. Like, it's really big.
Yeah. And the vocals on this album, I feel like this vocalist, I don't know what his name is. Actually, because I was trying to think, when I was listening, I just kept hearing, and maybe it was more because of the music, Eddie Vedder.
Oh, totally.
You know, the Pearl Jam thing. But I actually think from a vocal note range where his voice sits, he's actually maybe a little closer to Scott Weiland. Both of which are, you know, I don't think he's as mush mouth as Eddie Vedder is.
No, what I think it is, I think it's the vocal tonality of Eddie Vedder with the song approach of Chris Cornell. Like, he's singing like Chris Cornell, but with the voice of Eddie Vedder.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Like the way he hits notes and like, and travels through notes like is very Chris Cornell.
And like we said, this guy was like 15.
Yeah, I didn't have a voice like that when I was 15. I don't have a voice like that now.
I was going to say.
I'll never have a voice like that. It was honestly incredible.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's easy to be like, oh man, this is such a product of its time. Like, oh, it's just, it feels like cover band gone and made their own album sort of thing. But it is frankly impressive.
Yeah. And maybe, you know, you think about like how many bands when you were like 16 or 17, well, maybe not for you, but for me, like how many bands I listened to when I was like 16 or 17, you know, pop punk bands where people were like, oh, that band is just discount, you know, whatever other, you know, that band is just discount the Vandals or discount this band or that band. And at the time I was like, no, this band's the best. You know, that No Effect sucks. And then coming back to it as an adult, I'm like, no, these guys were definitely just kind of a cover band.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in terms of where they were going. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It just is. It's just what it is. It's that thing.
I think that direction sometimes in terms of Christian ska.
Oh my gosh.
Like in the 90s, if you were a youth group kid and you listened to ska, you were either on Team Supertones or you were on Team Five Iron Frenzy. Mm-hmm. I picked the wrong side. I was a Supertones kid. I should have been a Five Iron Frenzy kid.
Could be worse. You could have been Team Insiders
or Team the W's.
The W's, exactly.
All right, tell us about the song and get us out of here, Steve.
Yeah, this song was sent by somebody. This song was sent by Victor Trito. No relation to Rick Beato.
It's Beato.
I know. I recorded this a bunch of months ago. It has techno. It has surf. It has weird things with harmonics. I unoriginally called the songs Sudores, Surf, Electronica, y Mas. And my band is the MegaMayoNaizer, which is just me, but I'm trying to change that.
I liked every word you just said, Steve.
MegaMayoNaizer. And he sent us a link to a YouTube video.
This is going to be fun. We get to watch. Where's he going? Who's going to play keys? right, he's just sequenced that little riff there. It was neat to watch someone just kind of like experiment
Yeah.
and mess around with their rig.
I like that.
Yeah, that was fun.
I feel like if the part gallery was still running, I mean, that guy would fit right in.
Yeah,
for sure.
totally. Yeah, you guys, you don't have to send us like full songs. Like if you record yourself doing a little jam, we'll take it. That was fun.
Yeah.
Send us like your YouTube video and we'll watch it off of YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Stay grounded.